I love the show. I just want to say this show is awesome because we get to go into all kinds of areas that most people don't want to talk about. And I think a lot of people have seen things they can't explain and they're scared to talk about it. But y'all are opening up an an avenue for people to be able to tell people what they've seen in their life. And I really admire you for that. Thank
you.
y'all.
That's the biggest thing we want to do is create a platform for people to have that voice.
Yep. Yeah, that's a huge compliment. That means a lot. And it's been awesome to be able to talk to so many people about so many different things.
Oh, go ahead, Shane.
I was just to say, any topic's open. I love being able to talk to anybody about all the weird stuff going on. We are living in a very strange time.
It is. And, you know, if you do believe in God, which I do, and I know y'all do, he's supernatural. And so I don't understand. And plus people, like, if you're a Christian, you believe in the Holy Ghost, but you don't believe in ghosts. Like, so it's like, the way I look at it is, God is supernatural, and that doesn't mean he's some sort of extraterrestrial. It means he's just supernatural, omnipresent, and in control of the universe. And so, if you believe in God and you don't believe that anything is possible, because God can do anything,
and it's all in the Bible. I mean, all this wild stuff. There's so many things in the Bible, you know, that people would just write off. But yeah, I take the Bible literally, and there's lots of really crazy things in the Bible. And sometimes I'm told by people, by me not believing in certain things that are the mainstream truths I'm putting in quotes today, that I'm making the world like less magical. But I'm like, I think it's the opposite, because I think the way I see the world is actually not to be biased because it's me. I think it's beautiful, you know, but like this is how I talk to my kids about it. Like, the world, we believe the Bible. The world is amazing. Obviously, it's really dark and there's wild stuff out there. I don't fill their heads with a lot of that stuff, but they know to some degree. They've read the Bible, and they've been alive for some time. But like, I'm like, look how much amazing is in this book, and apply that to the world around you. And you forget that this world does offer lots of beauty.
Oh, it does. And if you don't believe like the supernaturalness of God is completely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And when you sit outside and you like sit at nighttime and look at the stars and you look at the patterns of the stars, and you're just like, wow, God made all of that, and I can sit here and look at it. And so, and then people are like, nah, there's no such thing as time travel. Every time you look at the night sky, you're traveling in time, because every time you look at the sun during the day, how long does it take for the sunlight to get to the earth? That's time travel. And so I don't understand how people can't wrap their mind around things that don't make sense to you, like on a linear mind frame. Because if you don't think linearly and you try to think more like widely, more spatially, then you can understand the universe better and God better, because you're not thinking linear. Like, people think linear too much. We have to think much bigger than that.
We've been conditioned to.
I'm sorry.
We've been conditioned to think that way.
I know.
It's sad.
I know. They've shut our brains off to a certain extent with drugs and, chemicals and all this stuff.
Social media.
Propaganda. I mean, but if you really like sit down with God alone and you think about the universe and you look at the sun and you look at the stars and you think, well, how long did it take for this to get here to me to see it? So now you're time traveling just whenever you look at the sun and you look at the stars.
Nice. We're all time travelers.
That's what I think about it whenever I sit and I talk to God at night or during the day, and I'm watching the sunset or I'm watching the stars like move in the sky. I'm like, this is time travel right here. And people are like, no, there's no such thing as time travel. That's crazy. Like, you have no idea. Like, you're traveling through time right now. We're going 86,000 miles an hour through the universe on a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Someone recently was like, do you feel like you're ruining your kids' lives by not doing dinosaurs? I'm like, no, we do dragons. Sorry.
That's even better.
Dragons are awesome. I mean, not so awesome. I have to fight a dragon, but they're cooler than dinosaurs. 'Cause that's a made up thing.
You gotta
But the
learn how
world
to
is
train
beautiful.
your dragon. You gotta learn how to train
Yeah.
your dragon. There's movies about it.
Yeah, no, but I know it's a good reminder of how beautiful everything is, despite all the darkness we talk about, and a lot of it on this show. I always want to make sure everyone remembers it's a lovely, beautiful world. Don't be shackled to the material world, but my goodness, it's amazing, and I love looking at the landscape. And every time I see my children, I'm reminded of God and His glory, and it's overwhelming.
Me too. I'm so thankful for people like you, Shane, that are able to like really be compassionate and sweet and like just think about what other people say. Maybe you don't agree with them, but you know, you sit there and you talk to them just like Charlie did.
Yeah.
Like you just sit there and talk to people and just like let them say what they want and then talk to them about it. And we need more people like that in the world. And I want to ask you one question about the Charlie's, situation with the. I mean, are we going to get an autopsy report? Is there an autopsy?
I've heard so many conflicting things.
Dude, I don't know if they had him long enough to do one. He was in a casket being transported on Air Force 2 like the next day.
There's no way.
I thought it was a federal thing where there was a political assassination, that it had to be an autopsy done.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't know if that means that they need to release the findings.
I feel like they would have had to have done one. I've heard so many conflicting reports. I've heard that there was some access that you could have for journalists, but that seemed like it was fake. It's like the body armor thing. Everyone thought he was wearing body armor. Today or yesterday, I was listening to Candace Owens, and she said she was confirmed through two PUSA people that he wasn't. I didn't think he was. I mean, in the very beginning, I was like, maybe he was.
Did we ever get medical findings for JFK?
Yeah, there's some, and they're buried in the files.
Because I mean, when it gets political, that's where we start getting.
And there's also testimony from people who were in the room as doctors, even as early as, as recent as earlier this year. There was a doctor in the hospital in Dallas that they pulled in, and he just testified, and it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's here and there.
Can you believe that surgeon that came out and said that Charlie's he was trying to confirm that it was the same gun that they were saying it was, but that it went into his neck and then went down and hit his heart and then bones and then came back up and ended up right where it entered the wound, and that was why there was no exit wound. And that sounds so crazy to people that are ballistic specialists, people that have been snipers in the military.
Yep.
They're like, that makes no sense, because that caliber of gun, that caliber of bullet does not exit out of even the biggest animal.
Yeah.
With the densest bones.
And this is the problem. It's like, and real quick, I see David Parker, I see you out there. There are pictures of the JFK autopsy. That they do those do exist. I mean, they could be fabricated, but
I figured at the very least that now we would have them. The question is really just how long did it take to get those?
Right. Yeah. Great point. But this is why I just call it the reality buffet, because anything you want to believe is up online. So there are people who say they're ballistics experts or snipers, and they're saying, well, that story adds up. These things happen. And there's other people who are saying, I'm also an expert, and this never happens, and it makes no sense.
Well, I'm not an expert, but I mean the bullet size of that bullet, if it goes in through a neck of a man, it's probably not going to stay inside of the body. Like, it's probably going to go straight through. Like, I'm no ballistics
expert. It depends on what it hits. I mean, honestly, and yeah, there are freak shit happens with bullets, man. I mean, it could have hit a number of things and done anything. The point is not to speculate, and really, it's going to be hard for anybody to believe anything that we get findings wise out of this because of the amount of time it's taken, even if it's all completely legit. But I think this does require an actual ballistics report to be released. I just don't know that we're going to get that anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
I know, Brandon, and that's why everybody's speculating, because we don't have any conclusive evidence to believe anything they're saying. So we have to speculate because we're just like, this doesn't make sense.
See, that's
This
why I
doesn't
think
make
it's
sense.
important not to speculate, though, is because we don't know. And I mean, like, this ties into a conversation we were having with a guy last night who called in. And he's like, yeah, let people just spew whatever conspiracy shit they want to. It's, you know, like a freedom of speech type deal. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But, like, that's where I got into, like, poisoning the well.
Spewing
You know?
conspiracy. I'm asking questions. Like, do you
No,
think
absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not trying to stray away from that. Everybody continue to ask questions, but don't, you know, pump out theories that don't exist, you know, and because that's going to lead to a train of people like wanting to believe shit that's not true, that hasn't been proven.
I know, like,
and that's
the
what's
Israel
scary.
thing. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, people are like, oh my God, Israel.
And if we
Wow,
weren't
what?
so connected now by internet and phone and things like that, where just this could spread like wildfire in a 24-hour period, it might not be that serious. But because things can literally overnight ignite, and everyone in the world knows about it just because they have a phone, you know, that's where things kind of get dangerous.
And I'm not taking anything off the table. I mean, I don't want to endorse any idea yet because I really don't.
Oh, I'm
feel,
keeping everything in piles and stacks.
I don't feel
you know?
one way about anything. I will say the things that I'm seeing from the camp of people that think it came from the back are interesting. I don't want to say I endorse that theory yet, but they're interesting. And there's a lot of people who have a lot of experience with this stuff. It's not just like, you know, me saying I think this because da 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 da. You know, like, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, but people who have a long history and big channels and they seem reasonable, they are breaking it down in a way that I'm at least like, that's interesting. You know, because I just we know what happened with JFK. We don't know what happened with JFK.
If it came from the front, then all the blood would have came out the back. You know, but then they're saying no, there was no exit wound, which is so weird. It went in and it just went down.
Yeah.
Like, and then they're saying, like, people are saying, like, they've shot like the biggest animals that you can shoot with the highest bone density that you can shoot. And a bullet like that does not hit a bone and go down. And so the whole surgeon coming out and saying, oh, he's a Superman. Charlie's a Superman. You know, his bone density was so awesome.
That didn't help.
No. And it was like, what in the world? And then him saying, like, the bullet was right at the wound. Like, it's like almost like somebody dropped the bullet in the wound. Like, here's the bullet. Like, like somebody planted it and took the other one.
I have a feeling that official story is going to change drastically. And they will officially change that story, or at least widen that scope soon. If they just close it and they say that's it, if they give us another there's no there line like Bongino gave us with Epstein about a month ago, 2 months ago, and like that's ridiculous. And that's another story we didn't even get into. O'Keefe dropped this.
That's gonna scream cover up if that happens.
They can't.
I don't know that they can do that.
They can't.
That's almost condemning yourself.
It's also going to be hard for anyone to have a consensus at this point.
Yeah,
that's how crazy it is. Monica, do you have anything else you want to add?
Thank you. No, thank y'all for taking my call. I just really love talking to you all, and thank you for your show. I love your show, and I tune in every time you're live.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
Have a good night, Brandon and Shane.
Thank you. You too.